5 years ago, around the time he sold his email startup Rebel to Salesforce, entrepreneur Joe Teplo first volunteered with United Hatzalah, a nonprofit organization that manages about 7,000 volunteer medics in Israel. In the years since, Teplo, a senior vice president at Salesforce Labs, has continued that work in New York, volunteering with its U.S. group. Each time he visited Israel, he'd squeeze in a shift or two. Nearby, volunteer dispatchers connected doctors, nurses and EMTs to emergency callers via software that uses algorithms to match emergency callers with available volunteers, factoring in their proximity, skill level and equipment and vehicles on hand to ping them in widening concentric circles until the request is accepted. Hatzalah then directed the medics to the emergency via a custom-made Android device loaded with apps for communicating with the caller and finding them. "They have the most advanced location-based dispatching that I've ever seen," Teplo said later, en route back to New York. "It's just been remarkable to watch from the inside. There was professional synergy, too, it turns out." Hatzalah's matching software runs partly on Salesforce, his employer, on the back end. CEO Mark Benioff has been a vocal supporter of the organization. The latest version of Hatzalah's app had only just undergone an 18-month proof of concept, said Dov Mazel, the organization's co-founder and director of operations. On the day of the attacks, the app helped dispatchers direct civilians fleeing by car across open fields to safety, and to show by video chat how to apply dozens of potentially life-saving tourniquets. Hatzalah's medics used the system to field about 10,000 emergency calls in each of those first days, up 400% from a typical day. "It's about leveraging technology to create the Uber of life-saving," Mazel said by phone on Thursday, just after leaving an air raid shelter following more attempted missile strikes. "I've been in emergency medical services for 30-plus years, and looking at the power these tech tools provide us, it's doing that dramatically." In the wake of the attacks, Israel's tech scene has struggled to maintain business operations amid the loss of loved ones, the displacement of families and key employees being called to serve in Israel's armed forces reserves. Palestinian founders, a source of economic hope for their communities, have faced major recent challenges of their own as the death toll in Gaza has reportedly topped 5,000. At the same time, Israeli tech workers have scrambled to translate their energy and skills into volunteer and relief efforts. Some projects, like one to protect the online identities of evacuees who lost electronic devices to Hamas, or another using facial recognition to identify missing persons, are technically complex. But others, like Hatzalah's software and solutions from local tech companies such as Monday.com and Guesty, are more straightforward, and no less valuable.